it shakes their core belief, and then uh, they can't process that, or it kind of they can't
So
express
that's
themselves.
well, and they don't know if they should or if they're allowed to or if it's bona fide to. I don't know what it is they're looking for with us, unless it's just like, Prabhupada Association, kata, stuff like that. If they just want to accumulate stories and stuff like that, like Boy Scouts around the campfire with a scoutmaster, well, they could do that, but they're not going to, they're going to find someone like me calling on them to do something way outside the box. So
Way outside the box, right?
yeah. Well, I would say, wouldn't you say that paper that I sent over is a bit outside the box?
Well, you yourself are outside the box. Forget
Exactly.
the paper.
Narayan, with you, there is no box.
Box? Box, I say. What box?
The whole the material world is your box. Up, down, side.
No, it isn't. The material world doesn't exist around where it's a box for anybody that wants to stay here in the material world, for sure. Okay,
Right.
I'll grant you that.
Right.
Whoever wants to remain in the material world, the universe, the material world, the
We got two boys
another
joining
person.
Mahaprabhu's and
Hare
Mohit
Bol.
Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Bol!
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. All
Guess
right,
who gave me a
Ramachandra.
big Ramachandra? Rupa, guess who gave me a big hug when I was in Costco today?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mahaprabhu.
The boss.
All right.
Mahaprabhu,
Yeah,
the boss.
Mahaprabhu. I was
He's the
there.
boss.
It was
He
great to
said that
see
I
you.
could knock on his door and he'd come out anytime, but it seemed to me so far away from my nature to do something like that. But then I came back and his door was open and I walked in and we had a wonderful get together. It was such a wonderful get together, Mahaprabhu, that I forgot to, there's something I forgot to do.
What's that?
Rupa Manjari was on the phone with me.
Oh, I missed that.
I heard you
And
though.
I was so overwhelmed by the fact that I bumped into you for real without knocking on your door or anything, that I forgot it would have been a wonderful three-way 2-second chit chat.
That would have been fantastic. We'll do it next time.
Yep.
All
No, we'll
right.
do it right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
That's what we're doing right now, actually.
All right. Thank you for stopping by.
that-
You're welcome
that-
anytime.
Well, thank you. That would have had the element of surprise. Can you imagine we're talking, hug and everything, and then suppose I handed you the phone?
Wow.
That would have blown you away, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Okay, I'm on my way home. I'm going to start driving.
All right.
I'll be,
Kindly
listen-
mute
I'll be
yourself.
listening
Yes.
You
Yes.
look as though you're in a Wright Brothers airplane.
Okay,
got
I'll be
Mohit.
standing by.
All right. We got
I
Mohit
can
Prabhu
see
there.
the ground way
Jaipur.
beneath your airplane.
All right. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol to everybody that's involved tonight.
Hare
Oh,
Krishna.
Jai, well,
All right.
stay tuned.
I'll be here.
Jai, Haribol.
Bye.
So we got Mohit Prabhu from Jaipur. Hare Krishna, Mohit Prabhu. Right. He's here. And let's see. Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Yes.
Nice.
Really?
Starting to grow.
Yes.
Who's here? Who's here?
Yourself, me, the Manjari Prabhu. Who else is there? Mohit Prabhu and Mahaprabhu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Yeah, 5 people.
What
Okay.
happened to
Great.
Banu?
Banu talked to me today, so he said he's
Doing
listening
well?
on. Yeah, he's doing well.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So let's see. Did you talk to him about the the webpage?
Oh, no, we were just having a general chit chat this morning when I woke up. He called me.
Yeah, but try to ask him about the webpage because we're going to start needing to put stuff onto it. Actually, we need to establish the webpage. Or did he already do that?
Well, the website is up and running, but we can talk about it later. Narayan Prabhu, can we get things going now?
Sure. But Rupa Manjari is very good at websites too, you know.
It's been a long time. I'm out of practice.
So do you know what they say? Practice makes, what do they say about it? Practice.
Practice
It's like
makes
it's like a bicycle.
perfection.
You never stop riding.
Oh yeah, that's the I know stop writing.
Practice. A beginning student practicing on the piano drives the neighbors nuts.
Right.
I know, I've had that experience. So here we are.
Okay, let me load this thing up. WordPad. RDPAD.
Prabhu's WordPad, Transcendental WordPad.
This
So
is
Mohit, Mohit is here.
Yes, Prabhu.
Maybe
Hare
Mohit should
Krishna.
read it. What if
Hare
Mohit
Krishna,
reads? What if Mohit reads it? Won't you have it up?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Let me get this up. Office.
Sorry, Prabhu, what are you asking?
Oh, we're going to be reading it.
Mohit Prabhu, very good
Yes,
to see you.
Prabhu.
You know, when I
Thank you
talk
very
with
much.
people like yourself, I don't talk to your body. I don't talk to your country. I don't talk to your religious background. I talk to you, the jiva, the soul.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
And when you talk to me, you're quite welcome to talk to me as though I'm the jiva. I may not look and act like a jiva. I may sound like a jiva, but in reality, I am a jiva. So if you talk to me like a jiva, maybe I'll wake up. You know what Thakur Bhaktivinoda saying? Jiv jai go, Gora Chanda bole, Kotra nidra jaya maya, Pisa chira kole. So if you treat me like a jiva, just say Jiv Jaigo, I might open one eye.
Okay, Prabhu.
Thank you.
And again, I
Okay.
might snore, keep on snoring. So how have you been, Mohit?
It's going great, Prabhu. Krishna's kripa going good.
Are you catching what we're actually doing here on this site?
Yeah, Prabhu.
We're not here to talk about the old days, unless the old days are Prabhupada, in which case we only talk about Prabhupada when it applies to a problem to be solved. We don't talk about, oh, when I was with Srila Prabhupada, he told me a story that big. Oh, when I was with Prabhupada, he told me one that big. That's not like the deal. What we're here to talk about Prabhupada is to evoke Prabhupada. So, Mohit Prabhu, would you like to read this little essay here?
Yes.
Prabhu. Okay, I'll try my best, Prabhu. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Loud, please.
We must rebuild ISKCON from the personal example shown us by SP. From the
Srila
first,
Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
SP is Srila Prabhupada.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
the example shown us by Srila Prabhupada. From the first day he landed in New York, there was never been a reasonable match between his clear instructions and his actions for his former hippie militia disciple, including me. This Kanishta Adhikari pool of very fortunate members of Kali Yuga society, namely Kanishta Adhikari, ISKCON, needs to raise their collective head to see the powerful open opportunity to deliver.
Wonderful.
Spiritually,
Open. It was wonderful.
to see wonderful open opportunity to deliver. Spiritually, every jiva, regardless of species, during the remainder of the 10,000 years of golden age of Kali, SP Srila Prabhupada has given us every ingredient that we we will need to fulfill the Lord Chaitanya's mission until the end of the golden age of Kali. For temples, temples, deities, worship, prasadam, four regulative principles, as well as the books, the world will never need for spiritual advancement leading to spiritual perfection. Will ever need for spiritual advancement leading to spiritual perfection. And most gloriously, the opportunity given to him to flood the land with Sankirtan, defined as chanting with unique transcendental mood, the Vaikuntha Kirtan melodies brought by him from Krishna Loka by SP, by Srila Prabhupada. Now many thousands of global ISKCON members, a bit down. Now many thousand global ISKCON members can begin to marvel at their never before understood Chaitanya empowered opportunity to advance through the many layers of neophyte consciousness, gloriously to manifest in the Kanishta Adhikari ISKCON movement. Should I stop here, bro? We should discuss about this now.
Sure. Narayan Prabhu, should we read the whole thing or?
No, that's okay. That's okay. You can discuss. Why not?
Okay, go ahead, Mohit Prabhu. You want to make a point or you want to?
Oh,
go
I
back?
I wrote it. So why don't you make a point?
Okay, go ahead, Mohit Prabhu.
Where did it go?
Can you tell
Went
someone
away.
else to read through more?
Did you take it off the screen?
It's still here.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yes, bro. Can you tell someone else to read, please?
Okay, where
Sorry.
did you stop? You stopped right here, right?
Yeah.
No, or here. Or did you stop here?
I stopped and till and.
Okay, here, right here, right?
Yeah.
Where I am.
Well, it's
Okay.
not very long, so you can go over it.
Okay.
You know, you can overlap it
Okay,
a
bro.
bit if you want.
Okay, bro. And now we can call all behind the embrace, all behind the embrace and explore the vertical process leading to UP to the platform of Madhyam Adhikari. The final path to our individual rasas with Krishna. Now the Madhyam Adhikari leads us
Vertically.
to the opportunity of reciprocally engage with Lord Krishna as we begin to directly relate to Lord Krishna in the transcendentalized pathway that leads us directly solely to our beginning taste of pure bhakti given by pure devotees as the Uttamadhikari platform. Known by pure devotees as the Uttamadhikari platform. These rasas cannot be artificially produced as a Madhyam Adhikari Jiva cleanses himself as the bodily attachment. Lord Paramatma in his hand will guide him how to incrementally begin to enter into this eternally reciprocal relationship with Lord Krishna. These loving exchanges, when mutually perfected to Lord Krishna and the Jiva's mutual satisfaction, will take Jiva completely out of the darkness of Maya, and place him under the protection of Yog Maya. At this, the Jiva will have co-created his eternal transcendental Swarup with integrate interaction with Sri Krishna in Krishna Loka. Now the fully spiritualized Jiva under the shelterization protection of Yog Maya will be in his personal reciprocal rasa with the Lord Sri Krishna for all eternity. Om Tat Sat.
Chai, we read the whole thing.
Yes,
Yes, bro.
pretty heavy duty stuff, huh?
Right.
Through the last paragraph, can you just move down? I have a doubt somewhere. Can you please?
Okay.
These
Yeah.
exchanges Yeah, these rasas are artificially produced. That's Krishna Ji was at. Prabhu, difference between Yogmaya and
You see, the ISKCON movements, no matter which ones they are, whether they're Ritvik or not Ritvik, whether it's Bangalore, whether it's Mayapur, all
Yes,
of these, they don't touch on this yet. They don't, this is a subject that they don't go to. They don't discuss it amongst themselves, I don't think, and they certainly don't teach it to their students.
Yeah.
So this is what is painfully lacking. And you notice that the paper starts out by saying, we have to start from Prabhupada himself and then become the sort of disciples that we could have or should have been, rather than the ones we ended up being. In other words, obedient. That will come out in further papers. But anyhow, so Ramachandra Prabhu, do you want to go through from the top and analyze it?
Yeah. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Or
We must rebuild.
you and Rupa Manjari, I should add.
Yes, yes. Okay, we can. Jai Srila Prabhupada. We must rebuild ISKCON from the personal example shown us by Srila Prabhupada, shown to us by Srila Prabhupada from the first day he landed in New York. Okay, so what do you mean by this first personal example? Prabhupada came 1965, he landed in Boston, right? And then
Yeah.
he was preaching from day one, right? Going here and there.
Well, he was staying in the house of a yogi.
Yes.
But the yogi just wanted him to add him to his collection of yogis. So he'd have programs of 3 or 4 yogis, and Prabhupada would be one of them. And he was doing that for his own name and fame. It had nothing to do with any teaching.
Right. Right. Dr. Mishra. Yes, that was
Dr. Mishra, yeah. He was staying at Dr. Mishra's home.
Right.
But he was dissatisfied, so he went and stayed in very questionable conditions in New York after that. So when I say there, I don't merely mean from when he stepped off the boat. I mean when he started preaching or started encountering people on his own in New York. That should be correct.
Yes, and there's a distinction here when you think about it. He could have just stayed at Dr. Mishra's place, but he, after seeing that the environment was very unfavorable, he left. You know.
Yeah, but I didn't want to get into that. I wanted to get into when Prabhupada became guru, and then the question is, he was a guru, but how about the disciples? How much of a disciple were the disciples? And then it goes into a deeper conversation as to what is a disciple? What constitutes being a disciple? Just that you take initiation, then you do whatever you please, or what?
Right, right.
That cuts back to the question of the kirtans. Oh, I'm initiated so he can chant any way I like. No, is that the case? Does that mean you're a disciple, or does that mean you just put your money into the machine and the fortune-telling thing spat out of your fortune for 10 cents? I mean, what is initiation?
Okay, so the next sentence goes.
So anyhow, okay. So do you want to expand a little bit on that first part? Rebuild ISKCON from the personal example shown by Prabhupada.
Yeah, so no, I wanted to make a point where Prabhupada was preaching at Dr. Mishra's ashram, but he immediately left the bad association when he saw that, you know, he was being used. So then he, after that, where did he go? He went to New York? Or where did he go?
New York. So I didn't mention Dr. Mishra because it's irrelevant to what we're doing.
Right.
It's an anecdote. Oh, he went there, he didn't like it, he left. I mean, what's so great about that? I mean, you could say, well, that means he wasn't kissing up to Dr. Mishra, was he? But we're not here to prove that Prabhupada wasn't kissing up to Dr. Mishra. We're here to ask, what did Prabhupada actually do?
Right. So next goes.
What was
Prabhu-
what was unfavorable about Boston?
Oh, well, Dr. Mishra, I think even signed for his entry papers to come into the USA. And the idea was that Dr. Mishra kept him at his house, fed him well, treated him nicely. And Prabhupada, there's some really cool pictures of Srila Prabhupada engaging with Dr. Mishra's little son. And stuff like that. He was just doing the thing he did with his disciples' children.
Who directed Prabhupada to come to the US?
His guru,
Did his guru know?
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. I believe Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati passed away before Prabhupada came to the USA, no?
Yeah, of course.
Did Prabhupada's guru know the individual where Prabhupada was living with?
No.
Okay.
Not only that, Prabhupada didn't know him either. You see, the
How
way
did they
Dr.
get-
Mishra looked at it is that I think he was a college professor. He wasn't a medical doctor, as far as I know. And the way Dr. Mishra looked at it, well, here's this authentic Vrindavan Vaishnava Swami who seems not to be a rascal or anything. And he wants permission to come to America, and he can stay with me. And then I have these different programs at universities and auditoriums where I introduce people to a variety of teachers. So Srila Prabhupada would be there. I don't know if it's one of 3 or one of 20 or maybe somewhere in between or varying. He would have to sit there listening to these rascals and Mayavadis going on and on, all of them trying to establish themselves so they can get disciples and, of course, money.
Right.
So when Prabhupada saw that that was it and nothing was going to get better than that, he got on a bus, I believe, and went to New York from Boston. He
Where
came
was
back
his
to
money
Boston
coming
in
from?
1969 with a gigantic temple with 50 devotees in it on Beacon Street, right close to Harvard Square. So, to hopefully answer your question, so Prabhupada didn't see a way of being anything other than a pet guru or a pet yogi, And he didn't want that role. He wanted to preach pure Krishna consciousness. And here he had heart attacks, strokes, and both. He was feeling that he was old. He left his family. He doesn't want to come there and just become one of the crowd of a bunch of gurus, yogis, and whatnot that are looking for a few disciples each so that they can get bread on their table.
Well, you said pet gurus. So, I mean, they're treating Srila Prabhupada like a pet guru right now in ISKCON, with the initiators taking all the credit and...
No. Ramachandra, they don't treat him like a pet guru. I mean, the way pet guru means you come, you pay you to come and you sit there. They tried to treat Prabhupada like a pet guru in Africa when I was there with him in his first trip to Kenya. And what happened there is that the guys, they held a collection amongst their community. What they would do is there was a sort of like a Pacific Rim was a circuit for rock and roll groups, for teachers, for doctors, for yogis and whatnot. And they would just get paid to go from there to there to there to there to there, basically in a big circle, including sometimes Kenya. And they would pay for it because it would be their idea of an exciting educational experience or entertainment, whichever you want to say. So So what happened is that when they paid for Prabhupada to come to Kenya, and I was there too. I paid my own way there. I came to Kenya with a couple of other devotees to Nairobi, and we sat there, and I was sitting in the living room of the people that hosted us, the Sharma family of Gujaratis, and this guy, I forget his name, but he sat there on the floor in front of Prabhupada, and he kept on trying to read Prabhupada the Riot Act. He said, look, we're going to have these programs, you're going to speak at them, and this is what we want. So please tell me which programs and how, and Prabhupada said, I don't do that. You see, that's the pet guru thing, that Pacific Rim circus. And I knew people that were dancers, stage dancers, exotic dancers, whatnot. They went on the same Pacific Rim. Rock and roll groups would go on the Pacific Rim. Why? Because people were always ready to pay for them, and they got a lot of kudos by going somewhere and tuning up their instruments and playing or dancing sexy dances or whatever they did. And for the Hindus, there was a circuit, probably maybe the same circuit, run by the same people, of gurus that would come around, and everybody would come and they'd say, oh, Swami, give me your blessing. Yes, my child, I will give you my blessing. Now give me $50, please. And that's the sort of, stale post-Vaishnava pay for pray type of situation. Mostly it satisfied the ladies because the ladies are traditionalists and they want their children to see a guru, and they want to see a guru and be blessed because they want to make money, and without being blessed, how can you make money?
Mm-hmm.
This is very Hindu, okay? So this guy was sitting there, I wish I could remember his name. In any event, he was busy reading Prabhupada the Riot Act. We brought you here, now you do what we say. Like that's what no offense to Prabhupada, that's just the way they treated everybody that came through. And Prabhupada said, absolutely not. He ended up having some horrendously powerful meetings. There was one meeting where I cooked sabji and puris for 4,000 people single-handedly.
4,000 people? Wow.
Yeah. But 4,000 people didn't show up. It's supposed to be 4,000. Only 2,000 showed up. But I cooked enough for 4,000 people. That's the bad news. The good news is that they liked the way it tasted.
You had
So
leftovers.
instead of eating one or two plates, they wolfed it down until it was basically gone.
Wow. Okay.
And Srila Prabhupada, I made it. Prabhupada had a big oval plate, like 8 inches wide and 12, 13 inches long, you know what I mean by an oval platter. And I heaped up the prasadam. Bhavananda, sir, he made a salad and cooked halava, and I made the sabji and puris. I don't recall if there was any rice or not, but in any event, I don't think I cooked it, but I don't think Bhavananda cooked it, maybe somebody else cooked it. But anyhow, there we were, and I was cooking puris on a wok that was like, how wide was it? I'm trying to figure out. At least 4 or 5 feet across, okay? Filled with ghee.
Wow.
And gallons of ghee. And it was on a burn, So I didn't roll the puris myself. There were these Indian ladies that miraculously showed up. And they started rolling puris as fast as they could. So when I'd have a big stack of raw puris, I'd flip them like frisbees into the ghee. Then I had a big net scoop, sort of like a spatula, but made with copper wire, brass wire. And I would drop them in 10 at a time into the ghee. Then I'd push them down below the ghee. Then I would flip them over in the ghee. Then I'd scoop them out. Then I'd do another batch. So I did thousands We made thousands of puris.
Wow. Probably one of the
And
biggest
so-
programs
and
in
I cooked
Africa.
the sabji. So what happened with the sabji? Is okay if I tell you about the sabji?
Sure, yes.
Okay, so we cooked it and everybody was eating. I cooked it, but I wasn't cooking. At the end, I was serving. So I was out serving. So Aravinda, his personal servant, brought me a platter, as I mentioned. So I put a heap of halva, a heap of sabji, and a ring of maybe 8 puris on it, and some salad. It was big. And so I took it, I gave it to him. But Aravinda had been chastised by Prabhupada for giving him too much prasadam on his plate. And he said to Aravinda, I know why you're doing that. You want to eat after me. That's maha prasadam, you see, eating off the plate of the spiritual master, or eating the remnants not on the plate, but taking off his, so it's the touch by the lotus lips of the pure devotee. And he said, I know you want to eat after me. So Aravinda was very chastised, and I made that big plate, and I looked at him severely, and I said, this is a large plate. Do not choose to eat after Prabhupada. I didn't give it to you big so that you would eat after Prabhupada. So I was busy serving people there. We had tubs with each thing, like laundry tubs filled with the sabji and the halva and whatnot. And we just go down and everyone had basically leaf plates, and I'd be scooping onto each plate. I didn't, there's a few of us there. There was Basal, there was Pavananda, there was a few people. And we, Prabhupada had a couple of servants upstairs. And so I was serving, and Aravinda came and said, Prabhupada wants more prasadam. And I said, he could not possibly have eaten all that prasadam. And he said, he did. I said, I didn't have time to take him apart and call him a liar. He said, so what do you want? He said, Prabhupada wants another plate. And I said, how much? About the same as the other one. And I looked at Aravinda, and I could say, I'd like to take him in the woodshed and give him a lesson, but I'm busy serving prasadam. I can't do that. So I heaped up another plate with another 8 puris on it. So that was the end of that story until I finished serving everybody. It was 3,000 people instead of, I want to say 5,000, 2,500, 3,000 instead of 5,000, 4,000. Anyhow, it was about 2,500 instead of 4,000. So, so we were working very hard because we didn't want anyone to wait for prasadam. We just scooped and scooped and scooped so that when a person finished, we came in front of them, as you know how they do, and served them as they wished. So then at the very end, Aravinda came back and saw me again. And he said, Prabhupada wants you to take that sabji and put it in a pot. Give him a pot full. And he picked out a pot and he handed it to me, fill that up. I said, fill it up? For who? Prabhupada wants it. So, I was not going to get into a squabble with Aravinda. So I filled up the pot with prasadam. There was enough left. And he took it away. And I didn't think about anything because I was busy with what I was doing, the service I was rendering. And then everything was taken care of. Then the next day, I came out, and Prabhupada was walking out of the building and saw me, and he said, Narayana Vishwakarma? I said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. Your sabji was very good. Then the next day, he did the same thing. It turns out he never would eat leftovers. He ate nothing but my sabji for 4 days. And every day he came out and said, Narayana, yes, Srila Prabhupada, your sabji is very good. Okay, that's the end of that. But anyway, that's to take care of what Dr. Misha was up to. Dr. Mishra wanted Prabhupada to be on the circuit, He was creating his own circuit. Yogis in, maybe he'd pay for them to come in, maybe they'd already be there, but whatever it is, he liked to have rent-a-gurus, rent-a-yogi, and to come in and give talks and stand on their heads or whatever they did. Yeah, so Prabhupada didn't want to do that, so therefore I didn't put it in my paper there. Okay.
Jai, okay, so let's continue reading.
Yeah, go
Load
ahead.
it up.
Yeah, let's read. The text has gone away.
Oh yeah, I'm loading it
yeah.
up now. Yes, let me load it up now. 1 second. Okay.
Was that explanation satisfactory?
Excellent. Try.
Okay. Jai.
All right. Oh, regarding pet guru, I found something about pet guru. So let's read, then we'll continue after that.
Okay.
So similarly, to keep, this is from a lecture, Srimad Bhagavatam 555 lecture, Vrindavan, October 27th, 1976. Okay,
Late
Srila
in the
Prabhupada.
day.
Yeah. Let's see, where should we start? Okay, let's start here. Nowadays, they accept a guru fashion. Quote, everyone has a guru. Everyone has a dog. Well, let me keep a dog. Like that, a pet dog. So similarly, to keep a pet guru, that is not. One should be very inquisitive. Sadharma. And everywhere, the same thing. Tadvidhi paripatena paripashyena sevaya. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34. But don't make inquiries cheap. Quote, here is my guru, and he's meant for answering all my questions. Let me go on questioning, unquote. No sevaya. You must serve. You must be ready to serve him. Then you have the right to make question. Otherwise not. 2 things. First of all, you must find out a person where you can fully surrender, paripatena, and then you can inquire, and the inquiry should be compensated by seva. Interesting, huh? The inquiry should be compensated by seva. Then he says, yes, yasya prasada, bhagavata prasado. Then the more you are inclined to render seva, the more the truth becomes revealed. How about that?
That is very powerful, isn't it? And that leads into the original theme of what we're dealing with. I didn't mention in this paper yet. I mean, I'll make another paper, but what it boils down to is that you approach the spiritual master and inquire, and then you surrender. Then you don't do your own thing anymore. That's what he's talking about here. He's not just you have a pet guru and you ask him questions. In Prabhupada's case, he wasn't a pet guru. He was a facilitator. So they would go to Prabhupada to facilitate what they wanted to do, not surrender, what do you want me to do, but what I want to do this, is that okay? I want to do that, is that okay? They wanted Prabhupada to rubber stamp their activity in those days.
Right.
So that we need to distinguish is not the approach of the guru, the spiritual master. Maybe they feel they got away with it, but actually history is proving that they did not get away with it. And we are here to rectify that problem.
Right.
So go ahead.
All right. All right. Okay. So we're reading the second sentence. There has never been a, quote, reasonable match, unquote, between his clear instructions and the actions of his, quote, former hippie militia disciples, including me. The Kanishta Adhikari, quote, fool, unquote, of the very fortunate members of Kali Yuga society, namely, quote, Kanishta Adhikari, unquote, let's see, ISKCON.
You don't have to say quote or unquote.
Okay,
I only did that
needs,
to make it easier to read.
Okay, needs to rise its collective head to raise, right?
Raise.
Raise, yeah. Yes. Raise to raise its collective head to see the wonderful open opportunity to deliver spiritually every jiva, regardless of species, during the remainder of the 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali. Right. Okay. Well, let me
Why not give class now?
give class now, right? There has never been a reasonable match between his clear instructions and the actions of the former hippie Malaksha disciples. So what do you mean by this? There has never been a reasonable match. What do you mean by reasonable match between his clear instructions?
Prabhupada gave instructions, and people did what the best they could. Then they did what they taught each other to do, which was not the same as what he taught.
Okay, Acha. That makes it
clear. In
clear.
other words, it's like, again, I'm going to keep mentioning it's the telephone game. You have 12 people in a circle, and you say something to one of them, and it goes around, and each one tells the other one about it in the circle. When it comes back to the first person, it's something quite different.
Rupa Manjari Prabhu wanted to say something. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yes.
Oh, I was just gonna say that what he means is there's a big difference between what Prabhupada wanted and what was actually done.
Acha.
And it's not necessarily evil. It's an inherent evil, but it's not intentionally evil. They did the best they could with their limited understanding. And it created the movement. It made the movement successful. It also put handcuffs and shackles on the movement, which we're experiencing now.
Okay. All right. The Kanishta Adhikari pool of very fortunate members of Kali Yuga, namely Kanishta Adhikari ISKCON, needs to raise its collective head to see the wonderful open opportunity to deliver spiritually every jiva, regardless of species, during the remainder of the 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali.
Okay. So, are you going to say something? Does Rupa Manjari want to offer an analysis?
Go ahead.
Well, for me, I just look to Prabhupada's statements about how he wanted to manage his movement, specifically the direction of management, the topmost urgency letter, Prabhupada's letters to his disciples, and notably his letter to Karandar, which we read the last time. Like he created a framework that, had it been followed, whole world would have been Krishna conscious by now. Whole world. So it's
not too late.
Well, it's never too late.
Well, it is, and it's in this body. You have to do it. If you're going to do it in your given body, then you got to do it in your given body.
Right.
Don't wait until after you leave your body. My brother left his body. So many people have left their body.
Right. It'll take some time, right?
Well,
or maybe not.
Yeah, but if we set the record straight, and if people accept that the record has been set straight, we don't have to be here to watch them hash out the details, as long as they know what to do. But if they think what they're doing is the right thing to do, which they're beginning to suspect is something's missing from the equation, then that's what we need to do, is to make sure they're not missing out on what's really meant to be done.
Yes, they are missing out, right?
Well, yeah, and what are we missing? We're missing the very thing that we thought we had, which was Prabhupada's teaching, Prabhupada's association, Prabhupada's. We have lots of photographs of Prabhupada, but we have lots of photographs of Prabhupada, but where is the photographic memory of what he said?
Well, that has been lost. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. Not lost, but hidden.
Not even lost. It was never occurred, because we're talking about dogs. You say good dog, and he knows exactly what you mean. You say good dog, and now can you tell me to explain E equals MC squared? The dog looks at you and said, oh, he said good dog. And he starts panting and smiling. You know? He misses E equals MC squared part. But good dog, he knows, because when they say good dog, that means maybe I'll get petted or maybe I'll get a treat. So that's basically what we did. We were acting like dogs, And fortunately, to some degree, to astonishing degree, considering our origins, we were successful. Because Prabhupada gave us such generalized instructions that even we could make a movement using those instructions.
What do you
And
mean
what I was
Prabhupada
wondering-
gave general instructions? Wasn't his, how can you say it was general? Or in what
Well, he
context?
taught us how to worship the deity, how to read in
Right.
class, how to chant japa, how to
You
follow
call
the
that
regular
general?
principles. Those are
would
general
you-
instructions.
Well,
But in doing those neutralizes your sinful, the base of your sinful activities becomes neutralized by joining a temple and participating and going on Sankirtan, taking prasadam. All of those things bring you from negative numbers up to 0. And then from 0, you make a little 1 or maybe a 0.0003 advancement from 0. But the question is, making a lot of advancement from 0 requires a completely different initial approach to Krishna consciousness. And simply perpetuating the half-baked understanding we had of what Prabhupada told us isn't going to do the trick. We have to go back and say, okay, because how did my video stop?
I stopped it. Now you're back
okay.
on. Yeah.
Now I'm back on.
Right.
Okay, so
We're talking about general instructions and Srila Prabhupada.
So Prabhupada gave us everything we needed to prevent us from taking a lower birth in our next lifetime. That's great. Considering, I mean, let's be realistic. When you walk out in the street and you meet people, you see people go to a shop, you buy something from someone, you talk to people, you do your job for Bank of America, you do all of these things, and you talk to all sorts of people. Does it occur to you that practically all of the people you're talking to are not going to take a human birth in the next lifetime?
Yeah, it does.
Huh?
Yeah, it does.
It
does.
You can see that. You can see that.
Yeah, I can
right?
see that. Yeah, just by the activities and what they eat and how they act, how they dress,
Yeah, their
how they
consciousness.
behave.
And if you look at it and say, I'm following the regulated principles, these people are not. What are they doing? They're killing cows. I mean, if they were killing infidels and eating the flesh, it would be far less sinful than killing a cow and eating the flesh. They were killing dogs and eating the flesh. No, they worship the dog and feed the dog cow flesh.
Right.
I mean, and they all think they're doing great. Why?
Yeah.
Because they are doing great. They're using up the last of their karma, their good karma.
Wow.
But you have to have good karma to take a human birth. And what are they doing to restore their karma? Praying to Jesus to be a toilet or a garbage disposal so they can go to heaven?
Dump your sins on Jesus Christ. Do whatever you like.
Yeah.
Dump
Do
it.
whatever you please and Jesus will take the crap.
Yeah.
It's a sick idea.
Right.
It's a very sinful idea.
Right.
The idea of using the Acharya, the avatar, whatever you consider Jesus to be, if he's a avatar, a Shaktivish avatar, if he's a guru, if he's an Acharya,
Son of God. Son of God.
if he's what?
Son of God. Son of God. They call him Son of God.
Everyone's son of God. Everybody knows that too, right? Who's
Yeah.
not a son of God?
No, they have a special category for him, but they dump all the sins on him. So that's what I wanted to point out. The special Son of God. Yeah. Who's
So what makes the special son of God different than a regular son of God?
Because he's recycling your karma, that's why.
He's eating your garbage.
Yeah, that's why. Right. You cannot eat your own garbage, but you give it to the special son of God to eat it.
Hari bol, Hari bol.
People don't see it that way because they're so filled with tradition and faith for hundreds or even thousands of years of faith. They don't see what they're doing. Well, then again, when they kill animals and eat them, they don't see what they're doing.
Right.
They have no idea of what they're actually doing. I mean, if they were vegetarians and smoked pot and drank booze and took heroin, they would have fewer sinful reactions than killing cows and eating them.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Prabhupada
Right.
says this wide-scale slaughterhouse of cows should be immediately stopped. They can eat the cows, but they have to die first naturally. Then they can eat the bodies.
Yeah, that's what the people that do that in England, they're known as hackers. Or when an animal dies, they take the corpse away and use it, take the skin, take the hooves, take the horns, make things, make leather for shoes and stuff like that. But in India, what are they called? They're those the Malachas?
Chamars.
Somebody.
Chamars.
Huh?
Chamars. Chamars.
Is that
Chamra.
it?
Chamra. Yeah.
Yes,
They deal with this.
Chamars or
Chandala?
Chhuachut.
No.
Chhuachut. Chamars or Chhuachut.
Yeah. So they're entitled to take the cows. I suppose they can eat them. I mean, there's no harm. The cow's dead. It's just like eating a clump of dirt. What's the difference? There's no sin
Right.
in eating dirt. There's no benefit in eating dirt, but there's no sin in eating it.
Right.
There's a virtue to eating dirt if you happen to be an earthworm. You're eating your God-given food. And you send up worm castings and you aerate the soil by tunneling through it. So you actually are facilitating plants' growth. So that's actually a pious deed, even though you may not intend it to be. But it's a virtuous act because it doesn't harm anyone and it benefits others.
Right.
So it's sort of Brahminical in the sense of from earthworm theology point of view.
Okay, we're back on the screen.
Yeah, okay, did we finish that one point? What was the last point? I want to be sure we wrapped that up.
Here. We were right here, the golden age of Kali.
Yeah, so the only last thing I'd like to point out on that, which maybe is inherent in that, is because of Ramachandra, because of this League for 10K that Ramachandra created, I would like to say that I suddenly saw a connection between Lord Chaitanya and us that I'd never seen. I too was looking at it materially.
What do you mean?
I'm in the 20th century, and Lord Chaitanya is back then. He's a historical figure. He gave us scripture. He's a sacred figure. He's like Moses or Jesus or something. I just thought of him as being special. It didn't occur to me that our living right now is by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, that he gave us the power to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada by whatever means, and now we owe him a debt. Just like we owe Srila Prabhupada an eternal debt for having delivered us.
Haribol.
We owe Lord Chaitanya in the same debt. It is identical debt. It's the same debt. Except when we accept it from Prabhupada, it's in our lifetime or close to our lifetime. When we accept it from Lord Chaitanya, that was so only 500 years ago. That's not so long time.
Hare Krishna.
So because of Lord Chaitanya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the next Acharya, really, after Lord Chaitanya, practically. And then Kishordas Babaji put a monkey wrench in the machinery, which made it possible to do perfectly Vaishnava things in a non-Vaishnava way, or perfectly non-Vaishnava things in a Vaishnava way.
Right.
And then Bhaktisiddhanta sat there gathered the unfaithful into a large group. At one time, he led a festival with 60,000 people in it. So 60,000 60,000 people would have gotten in Prabhupada's way if they'd had their own way and become gurus in their own right. He brought them all together and drowned them. It's like putting kittens in a sack and throwing them in the water and drowning them. That's what he did to his disciples. He drowned them. Of course, they all got the chance to hear him. Therefore, they're all going back to Godhead. But that because of their intelligence or their intention was to dominate. And because Bhaktisiddhanta spoke in this completely prolix and inscrutable fashion, they came to him because they were wowed by what? The Vedas? No, they were wowed by the British. All of Bhaktisiddhanta's disciples came to him because he spoke English and Bengali and Hindi and Sanskrit in such a prolix and highly erudite fashion that they couldn't understand what he was saying. Therefore, they had to surrender. And they thought, maybe out of this, I'll become a better guru and get more disciples and in the manner of a businessman, I could get disciples and make money, which is what they wanted to do. But if it wasn't for Bhaktisiddhanta being so complicated and so hard to understand, they wouldn't have come to him. They came to him because he was the best of the best. And because of that, they knew they could become the richest of the richest if they cashed in on it. But he deceived them and tricked them at every turn and left them to fall on their faces into the mud at the end. Because he wasn't there for them. Yes, he was. He came there to deliver them as well as me and you and everyone. Yes, he came to deliver them, but not the way they wanted. They wanted to be delivered into being gurus of big temples and making money. And that they didn't get to do. The whole thing went flat on its face. So when we say that Ananta Vasudeva destroyed the Gaudiya Math, actually Bhaktisiddhanta destroyed it. He created it. He put on bombs. It's like a person planting bombs in a building and then walking away and the fuse is going off. Boom, the whole thing blew up. That's the fact, isn't it? And Sridhar played right into it, of course. Sridhar Maharaj played right into it and came along in time to render a very valuable service. How to teach the bogus so-called officiating acharyas / riptics, how to turn them into bogus gurus. And he'd already did that once for the Gaudiya Math. Ananta Vasudeva was facilitated by Sridhar and 3 others. I don't remember the others. And
yeah, I mean,
and
he
so go ahead.
he really tricked them, huh? If you look at if you really look at his society, before he passed away, he elected one person and to be the so-called Acharya.
Who?
Govinda Maharaj.
Who's that?
He was the successor to Sridhar Maharaj.
Oh, well, who gave Sridhar the right to initiate?
No, I'm just saying he instructed all the ISKCON disciples of Srila Prabhupada to be gurus. But he himself, when he passed away, he only had one so-called successor, while ISKCON had, multiple.
Oh,
So,
I see.
You know what I'm drawing the connection. ISKCON
I
having
didn't,
multiple.
when did he do that? I wasn't aware of it.
Oh, yeah, he did that before passing away. He gave that order that, it's like Govinda Maharaj is an extension of me. So please be obedient to him, and he's going to be the
Who passed
successor.
away? Sridhar.
Yeah.
When Sridhar passed away?
Yes.
After Prabhupada said, do not associate with Sridhar, I never paid attention to anything about it.
Acha.
Particularly after he pulled that Bengali trick of pretending that the other guy's temple, the other guy's disciples are your own, and putting it in the newspapers just to trick and cheat.
All right, so let's continue. Huh?
So mention it. So Sridhar told Govinda something.
Oh yeah, he was the successor acharya for the institution.
What is in Navadvip?
Yeah, in Navadvip, yes. And then he came to America, initiated disciples, and I think also a lot of disciples from Srila Prabhupada's disciples, I'm sorry, went to his god brother Sridhar Maharaj, like this Janardana Swami in Santa Cruz. What was his name? I forget. Jagat Guru or something.
Oh, Jagat Guru? Yeah, I knew Jagat Guru quite well.
Yeah. And this Tripurari Swami, he also went to Sridhar Maharaj's camp. I guess they all want.
Is that where he got his empowerment? Was Sridhar Maharaj's camp?
Yeah, yeah. I
So
think ISKCON denied him a guru license, so he went to Sridhar Maharaj and became a guru like that.
Yeah. You see, they originally the officiating acharya / Ritiks, they wouldn't let anyone take sannyas because they were afraid that other godbrothers would want to become gurus also.
That's what
So
happened.
at that
exactly.
time, they started going to Sridhar, and Sridhar was giving them sannyas.
Right.
Which is
Right.
interesting because what business do they have going to Sridhar outside of their own sampradaya?
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay, so then I guess let's get back on track.
Yes, the Kanishta Adhikari pool of very fortunate members of Kali Yuga, namely Kanishta Adhikari ISKCON, needs to raise its collective head to see the wonderful open opportunity to deliver spiritually every jiva, regardless of species, during the remainder of the 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali. All right, so we've discussed that in our videos before numerous times. Srila Prabhupada has given us every ingredient that we will need to fulfilling Lord Chaitanya's mission until the end golden age of Kali. Examples: temple, deity worship, prasadam, 4 eggs, as well as all the books the world will ever need for spiritual advancement, leading to spiritual perfection. And most gloriously, the opportunity given by him to flood the land with Sankirtan, defined as chanting in the unique transcendental mood via the Vaikuntha Kirtan melodies brought by him from Krishna Loka. By Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, this is where a lot of people get the misconceptions. Remember, we were talking about how these initiators, they train up the disciples and they kind of get stuck, and then they cannot think outside the box, and
they also create their own style of kirtan, so that you can tell one group's disciples from the other, and they don't mix together. They don't become one movement. They are separate camps that smile at each other, but just don't trust each other very much.
Yeah, that's what happened here in Sacramento. When I was part of the management here, there were 2 groups. The Jayapataka was scared of the Radhanaths. They were like, oh, one guy is trying to take over, and the other people try to get on the board, be like, hey, let's have our people, our numbers, the Jayapataka is more, like 3 to 5 and 5 to 3, things like that.
Ramachandra Prabhu, I thought you said that there wasn't any ISKCON center in Sacramento.
No, I said there's an ISKCON institution, meaning the ISKCON brand name here, meaning that they have a nonprofit named ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness of Sacramento. So they have a legal right to use ISKCON name here in Sacramento. under
But I
the
thought you said there wasn't like a physical place.
no physical place, and just they're using the name, registered name. That's it.
Oh.
There's
So what
yeah.
did I think Ruben Major is asking something, and I have the same question too. What did they do with the name? What having it? What did they do with it?
They call themselves ISKCON, and they preach and propagate the propaganda of you need a living guru, changed books. Shravan Prabhu told them to change the books, but the president was too weak to change. Explain to them that hey, let's change the books. So the president did not want to change to the original books. So these are some things they do. They try to herd people. They try to herd cats, but people keep leaving. They're trying to get people to subscribe to their views.
Let me ask you a very simple, base entry level question. Judging by what you've been reading so far, what if those people that came and left had read and understood what has been read by you of this little essay so far? Would they have a basis to become devotees, or would they leave anyhow?
What do you mean leave? Narayan Prabhu?
Well, they say they came and they went, going and went. If they came and went, that meant they left, right?
Yeah, they left. Yeah. Shravan left. I left because of their politics and
So if this little essay so far, a third of the way through or whatever it is, had been taught to you and Shravan and the others, would you have seen a reason to leave?
No.
That's what this paper's for. That's what our whole League of 10K is for. It's so when people read it, they'll say, I'm not going to leave ISKCON. Those guys should leave. The ones who say that, the initiators should, well, we don't want the initiators to leave, but can you sort of give your butts a harder surface to sit on for a while, please? Like the floor?
Right.
Okay, so anyhow, I don't want to carry away.
Okay.
Keep on going. See, to me, this is very, do you see that this could be a very key, distinctive position paper to help us not recreate ISKCON as it was, but create ISKCON as it is from the beginning of ISKCON rather than after Prabhupada's departure.
Yeah, we have to make a distinction to.
Well, isn't that a pretty huge difference? And we're the only people doing that, I think, right?
Yes.
I wish more people were. We'll find out shortly, within a few months probably, how many people agree with us.
Yeah, I mean, we're already talking to the so-called initiators, so we're going one by one.
Yeah. Well, you might want to send that paper to the initiators, the ones that you've talked to so far. You could send that to, let's see, who have we talked to is Navi Yogendra, and to what's the other guy, the outcast guy?
Outcast guy, oh yeah, Bhakti Vikas Swami.
Bhakti Vikas Swami, yeah. Why not send it to him and send it to Navi Yogendra and see what they think.
Call him outcast guy.
You think it's premature to do that?
No, it's funny, outcast guy.
I'm sorry?
Yes, it's very funny. Call him
Very well. Outcasted individuals.
Okay, let's continue.
People are, every individual, every jiva in a material body with a material identification composed of that body is an outcast of something or other.
Right. Haribol, okay.
It's like
And
Prabhu
then
is.
he dies in his outcast body, and he gets another body where it's a different type of, or even a
Okay.
different species of outcast.
He's really outcast now.
Like Prabhu is like taking out the virus. Out
Okay,
the virus out of these rascals, no?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
definitely.
Okay, where were we? Rupa Manjari Prabhu, can you read now? I forgot.
Sure.
Where were we?
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna Mataji, Danut Pranam.
Oh, Hare Krishna. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mataji. How about you?
Very good, thank you. Okay, what line are we at?
Okay, let's see. Where were we? Oh, many thousands of publics. I think we were here. Yes, here.
Now our many thousands of global ISKCON members can begin to marvel at their never before understood Chaitanya-empowered opportunity to advance through the many layers of neophyte consciousness, gloriously manifest in the Kanista Adhikari ISKCON movement. And now we can all begin to embrace and explore the vertical process leading up to the platform of Madhyamadikari, the final pathway to our individual rasas with Krishna. Madhyamadikari leads us vertically to the opportunity to reciprocally engage with Lord Krishna as we begin to directly relate to Lord Krishna in the transcendentalized pathway that leads us directly solely to our beginning taste of pure bhakti, known by pure devotees as the Uttama Adhikari platform. These rasas cannot be artificially...
Should we discuss at this point?
Okay, sure.
Rupa
Rupa Manjari Prabhu, anything you want to say? Since you're reading it.
Well, he's talking about Madhyamadikari leading to Uttamadikari, which is the goal of our Krishna consciousness process.
Yeah.
And he says...
the big question is that pathway from Madhyam to Uttamadikari, or from Kanista to Madhyamadikari to Uttamadikari, ever mentioned in ISKCON?
No, it's not.
Ramachandra, what do you think?
Oh, definitely not. If you start mentioning these things, then, people will start looking up the words. Then they'll come up to the next of instruction where it says, therefore initiation should be accepted from Uttamadikari. And then there comes the part of insufficient guidance, and many things will contradict the present day Western GBC of West Bengal. And then, people will start waking up. So we don't want to wake up the masses of people in ISKCON. Let them be slowly given the coronavirus.
Think how many senior devotees in ISKCON have died already from the coronavirus without realizing this very simple and wonderful reality.
Right.
You see, if the ISKCON GBC takeover of Prabhupada's movement is going to be held accountable, as it will be in the court of Yamaraj, they stopped countless millions of people from going back to Godhead because they wanted a red chair to put their butts on.
Oh, yeah.
Who's joined?
You get the point. How many people, how many insects have not heard the holy name because they stopped chanting Sankirtan, called it Harinam, and made it a 2-hour event every weekend in some obscure location?
Right.
Anyhow, so go ahead. So why not? Sorry. Why not? You took it off the screen again. Why not talk about it?
Oh, yes. Okay. So Rupa Manjari Prabhu read that part. We have Lakshmi Prabhu joining. She's joining after several months now. Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Prabhu. You
Hare
finally, I finally sent you the Zoom, huh? The link,
Yes,
so you joined up. So now
yes.
you're connected.
I hope everyone is doing great and safe. Hare Krishna to every Vaishnavas here. And Hare Krishna, Naranaran Prabhu. I just was waiting to talk to you on last Monday, but I couldn't. But today I got to talk to you.
Try.
Hare, Hare,
Hari
Hare,
Bol.
Hare.
Hari Hari. Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
Jai
Okay.
Prabhupada.
Okay, Narayan Prabhu just got out. Okay, let's just wait for him to come in. So, Lakshmi Prabhu, you're still, where are you now? Are you still at the same place?
Yes, I'm in the same place, Bangalore, India.
Acha, Bangalore, okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I sent some videos and some text messages. You like that? Some conversations?
Oh, I literally got tears. Honestly, those words, like, directly it has come to me. I felt so. But yeah, that helped me a lot to realize, okay, I should not suffer for things that I do not have or I'm not able to do for Krishna. Whatever I can do, I'm doing it with full heart. So I should be thankful for that. Yeah, I got that realization from that. Thank you for sharing.
Try. Okay, let's continue reading. Narayan Prabhu, you probably missed it. We got Lakshmi Prabhu joining from Bangalore. She joined
Really?
when we got started back, I don't know, what, a year ago or something. So
Yeah.
you remember?
Well,
or
that's
no?
incredible. That's incredible.
Oh, let me share my screen.
Jai Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hare
We're
Krishna.
changing the world, and we want you to help us. We want you joined in to change the world with us.
Oh, please. Actually, now, like, I'm realizing those words, what you said, I'm definitely I don't fit to that, because as I'm, keep on realizing myself, I am seeing that I'm so, very down. I'm so down. Definitely don't fit to those words. Whatever you had told earlier in 6 months back. No, 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 no. I'm not able to accept now. Really, it has, like, I'm able to realize so many things after associating with the devotees in this 6 months. But I am so fortunate, I could say.
Well, let's all join together and make sure that Prabhupada's, not
Yes.
his legacy, not his history, not what people remember, not what happened for 10 years he was here, but let's go back to what he intended and then make that happen, so that we just bypass all the goodness Adhikari foibles, God bless them, which have occurred. So were you listening to this paper, by the way?
She just joined right now, Prabhu. She just joined
No.
right now.
No, yeah, not
Oh.
regularly. Here and there, I was watching your videos.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was-
All right.
Is
Let's continue
is
then.
she on the video?
Huh?
Okay. Who's reading now?
Rupa Manjari Prabhu was reading. So
Sure.
Okay.
yeah, we were talking about the global ISKCON members, So we want them to realize these things, and then come up to that standard of, accepting Prabhupada as the sole Diksha and Shiksha gurus, and then working from there, and then seeing all the videos we have produced about the direction of management, the July 4th, the topmost urgency letters, all these things, and they will be empowered to open centers, everything, not only centers, but, go through the stages of Kanishta, Madhyam, and independently thinking. So you were making a point that these initiators, they have done a great deal of disservice, and some service also.
We can't say they've done this service. They've done a magnificent service within the limits of their realization.
Yeah,
and the
that's
limits
the
of the
better way to put it.
realization is Kanista Adhikari.
Mhm.
As Kanista Adhikaris, they've done all sorts of very nice and wonderful things oh, they've bent a lot of rules and they've bent this and done that. They've added and they've subtracted, but they've done it all basically in good faith. Nobody said anything deliberately evil, unless you want to count Kirtanananda murdering people, it's evil, which is questionable because a lot of the people he murdered, for the most part, needed to be murdered, I suppose, or at least that was their karma. To be murdered. So you see what I mean? Everybody's done very nicely. However, nobody has gone really into the higher realm of Kanistha. No, they have. They've become very good pujaris. They've become very good lecturers. They've done all sorts of things. But what they have not done is realize that they themselves are not yet qualified to be gurus. They can be Ritiks. They can be what you call
officiating acharyas.
Yeah, they could be what they could be. What call them?
Officiating
acharyas, or they can simply be temple presidents. And
right.
they can perform the yagyas and everything.
Right.
People want someone to play guru, so that when they take initiation, they feel it may not be Jesus, it may not be the Pope, but he's a pretty okay priest who is sitting on the red chair, the official red chair of guru, the guru red chair. For me, red chair is a very sensitive conversation, It's a very sensitive topic for me, for the simple reason that I'm the one that originated the red chair to begin with for Prabhupada. Not that I did not realize it was going to become a collector's item for every middle-aged and aging bottom of the upper echelon of ISKCON.
Okay.
See, so let's go.
All right, so we were here, I think. Where were we? We began to. Were we here, Prabhu? We began to directly relate to Lord Krishna. Okay.
Who's
Okay,
reading?
Rupa Manjari Prabhu. Rupa Manjari
Who's
Prabhu is
reading?
reading.
We begin to directly relate to Lord Krishna in the transcendentalized pathway that leads us directly solely to our beginning taste of pure bhakti, known by pure devotees as the Uttama Adhikari platform. These rasas cannot be artificially produced. As the Madhyam Adhikari Jiva cleanses himself of all bodily attachment, Lord Paramatma in his heart will guide him how to incrementally begin to enter into his eternal reciprocal relationship with Lord Sri Krishna. These loving exchanges, when mutually perfected to Lord Krishna and the Jiva's mutual satisfaction, will take the Jiva completely out of the darkness of Mahamaya and place him under the protection of Yogamaya. At this stage, the Jiva will have co-created his eternal transcendental Swarup with intricate interaction with Sri Krishna in Krishna Loka. Now the fully spiritualized Jiva, under the sheltering protection of Yogamaya, will be in his personal reciprocal rasa with Lord Sri Krishna for all eternity. Om Tat
Right.
Sat.
All right. Anyone have any
Okay.
questions? They want to share any
It's
realizations?
not a question of him having questions. I would like to hear someone explain that, having heard it, now explain it. Because it's uncharted territory in ISKCON to discuss this. You're not going to go to a class and have the right answer by reading such and such shloka or something. This is uncharted territory.
Only Rupa
So-
can do that.
Yes, I'm going to say
Why
that.
me?
Only-
Why me?
Only,
You have it in you, girl.
yeah. The
Hare
fire,
Krishna.
the fire.
We
Okay,
began
well,
to
why not give
directly.
it a try, and then all the coyotes and wolves can pounce.
Oh, no. Somebody else. How about Lakshmi?
You understand things that we could never understand.
Yes. To transcendental
began
things,
to-
right?
Hare,
Yeah,
Hare,
began
Hare,
to
Hare.
directly relate to Lord.
Hare, Hare.
You make this point that we began to directly relate to Lord Krishna in the transcendental pathway. So, isn't that somewhat going on already in the Kanishta Adhikari? Like, either we not directly, well, you can say directly, Paramatma is already there in everyone's heart and he's facilitating according to one's karma. So if you can understand that part.
Okay, but that's not the part that we're talking about. We're talking about the part where you actually begin to separate yourself from the Kanishta platform, separate yourself from the highest level of the Kanishta platform. In other words, Paramatma at that stage leads you out of everything you think you are and everything you look at ourselves. Don't we believe we are our body? We certainly act like it when we do our daily work. Everything we do is bodily conscious. Oh, we think about Krishna while functioning as robots for whatever human purpose we've been accepting and been trained for from birth. So this is where the Kanishta Adhikari begins to let go of his identification even as a purified jiva, purified body, because the main, I didn't bring it in exactly, but the main distinction there, we brought up before in conversation, is that suppose you take a Kanishta Adhikari in the highest realm and he's the top pujari in a very nicely run temple, ISKCON temple. He is worshiping the deity formally, but in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan, not in the mood of Radha and Krishna, right?
Right.
That's clear. Because we may see the deity as Radha is there and Krishna is there with his flute, but that's not the style of worship. The worship that has been given us is awe and reverence, formal worship of Radha and Krishna. And besides, we don't worship Krishna, according to the way Prabhupada set up, we worship Krishna through the Acharya to Lord Nityananda Gaur-Nitai, and then from Gaur-Nitai up to the deity. We're not even qualified to worship Vishnu, in other words. So you have this perfect Kanishta Adhikari who is an expert pujari. Let's say, I like to use the example, fanning the deity, doing the Arctic ceremony, but fanning, you could do the whole Arctic ceremony, but let's say the fanning part makes it smaller and easier to comprehend immediately. And that is, he's fanning the deity of Krishna in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan, right? Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there any part of that that is not clear? Is it not? Let's clear it up right now.
It's clear.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if he's worshiping the deity perfectly, he's not worshiping Krishna in Krishna Loka perfectly. He's worshiping Lakshmi Narayan perfectly. And he's going through all the rituals which are used by the pujari in the Arti ceremony to worship Vishnu and Lakshmi and Vishnu. Style, while looking at and appreciating that I'm worshiping Radha and Krishna. So what happened now? Okay, put that on hold, or one side of the balance, and then you go to the other side of the balance, and you're going to start fanning Krishna, guided by Paramatma in your heart, without seeing Krishna, because Krishna is on the other side of the curtain of Maya. So you're fanning through the curtain of Maya, shadow dancing. You're fanning through the curtain of Maya, and your background is very good background. You're a top pujari, so you know you're going to please Krishna because you start fanning him the way you fan the deity, right? Is that clear enough?
Yes, that makes sense. Yes.
Okay, you fan Krishna the way you're used to fanning Krishna, meaning the deity in the mood of Lakshmi Narayana. Not surprisingly, when you do that, Krishna finds it annoying. Why does Krishna find it annoying, may I ask at this point? We have to get ourselves out of our self-serving mentality. Why would Krishna find it annoying? It's a simple answer.
Because
we're not doing what he professed.
Okay. If you're worshiping Lakshmi Narayan in the temple as the Kinistadikari, top Brahmin Prajari, then you go into the mode of Madhyamadikari, where you're trying to divest yourself of all material thinking, feeling, and willing to worship Krishna in his original Swarup on the other side of the curtain of Maya. Why would Krishna not be pleased if you fan him the way you fan the deity in the temple? If you can catch this, you'll catch everything.
Because it's not a reciprocal personal exchange.
Yeah, can you go a little further into it?
because it's not Krishna.
Yeah, that's it. The deity, Vishnu is Vishnu and Krishna is Krishna.
Yes.
So supposing that you pet your dog the way you would stroke your cat, he may not like it. Or suppose you slap your cat on the back the way you'd slap your dog on the back. Your dog says, wow, what a dude. I like the way he slapped me on my back, you know. He's going to give me a treat, I'll bet. A little bit of beef crackers or something. Yes, that's for me. But you do that to your cat is a son of a bitch. What do you think you're doing? It's the same thing. And you mean it with equal devotion. But whoever is expert at petting or slapping dogs on the back has got to learn a new language if they're going to pet a cat, right?
But Prabhu, I mean, the answer is apt here. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Mohit Desai. Hare Krishna.
What? What is this?
Prabhu, the answer to this question which you asked is like the Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. You're not following him, and you're just worshipping deities, right? Which are like.
What are we talking about? Krishna in the temple is Krishna, but he's worshipped in the mood of Vishnu. In Krishna Loka, Krishna is not worshipped like Vishnu. Vishnu is the expansion of Balaram, and Balaram is the expansion of Krishna. Very big difference.
Yeah.
Vishnu has limitations. I mean, he's the supreme personality of Godhead, but he has limitations that Krishna doesn't have.
Okay.
So if you're worshiping Vishnu in awe and reverence, and you go to Krishna Loka and start to worship Krishna in awe and reverence, you don't have any business in Krishna Loka doing that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
There's no awe and reverence in Krishna Loka.
This is not only advanced, it's the ultimate advanced conversation about the distinction between the Kanistadikari and the progress of the Madhyamadikari.
But Prabhu, you're talking about that rasa, that pure love. That is very tough to inculcate, right? So through
supposing you want to have a rasa with a beautiful young lady yourself. Maybe I don't want to insult you, might be a nice Sikha brahmachari, but suppose you wanted to have a nice rasa with a beautiful young lady. Do you do it all by yourself? Or do you figure out ways to please the beautiful young lady?
Prabhu, I in this thing, I guess if it's not Krishna, if Krishna is not sanctioning it, I can't talk to her also, to be frank and clear, because it's in the hands of Krishna. I can't get a permission.
Let me just ask you a question. What would happen if you treat Krishna, as you develop a fanning of Krishna through he can see you, but you can't see him. But through the curtain of Maya, he probably doesn't see you either because he has no reason to want to. But what if you are treating Krishna in the mood of the deity in the temple? Will Krishna be pleased?
Yeah. If
He
I'm
will.
treating Krishna, I think so. Because if I'm treating Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is, then he
No,
will
you're
be pleased.
treating
Vishnu.
Krishna.
Yeah.
What if you treat Krishna and Goloka Vrindavan like Parsuram?
Yeah,
Personally,
there's no awe and reverence.
It would
Whenever
not work
I'm
out
going
very
in
well,
temple,
would it?
whenever I'm
Yeah.
going in temple, I'm just thinking of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's all the supreme, more than anyone.
Yes.
So I think in that way only.
But doesn't he come in different forms?
He comes in different forms, but for me, Krishna is the supreme, and
Yeah,
before
it
him, no
doesn't
one is there.
matter. For you or for me, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about Krishna himself. If he comes in different forms, do you treat each different form differently?
No, I
Yes.
don't think so. I
Yes.
don't think so. No.
Yes, of course. It's two, different. Well, yeah, that's the point here. That's the
Then
distinction
you
here.
get
That
sidetracked because then you
No.
get sidetracked at various
Shall we
places
say,
in this in Bhagavatam also.
would you worship Lord Ramachandra as though he were a cowherd boy in Vrindavan?
No way, you can't do that.
No
to
way,
him.
no.
That's what we're talking about. You have a
Yeah,
different
Krishna.
form.
Yes.
If each
Yeah.
form of Krishna requires different taste of worship, different. It's the worship. The thing which the ultimate point that I'm trying to establish here is that you cannot have a relationship with Krishna that is not reciprocal. If you're doing devotional service, or what you call devotional service, at Krishna, saying this is what I've been taught to do and it's going to please Krishna or else, do you think Krishna is going to be pleased? No, Krishna wants to reciprocate. So if he reciprocates as the deity on the altar as Vishnu, and you can see him reciprocating, you get tears in your eyes, you can feel his pleasure in being worshipped as the deity on the altar, is that the same thing as worshiping Krishna, two-handed form, in Krishna Loka?
Okay.
Or is it in a different mood?
It's different because there's no awe and reverence there. It's a very intimate friendship. I think the friendship is the most, and they treat Krishna as themselves. Everyone's basically equal in their rasa with Krishna, or greater than.
In Krishna Loka?
That's what. Yeah, Krishna Loka is different. Not the way it's here.
Everyone has a different relationship with Krishna and Krishna Loka, right? That's
Yeah,
what you're saying?
Yes.
Individual. Each individual. And how many individuals are in Krishna Loka, would you say?
Unlimited.
Unlimited, numerous.
Countless individuals. And we're talking about those like cowherd boys and gopis and Mother Yasoda and different sevas and all that. But what about that's in the medium rasas. What about the Shanta rasa? Every grain of sand is an individual jiva in Krishna Loka. Right? So every individual grain of sand has an individual relationship with Krishna.
But bro, when you say that we worship him as Vishnu Avatara, so Vishnu, the demigod, they have their own different, different aspects or different unique attributes which they bring. But Krishna is the supreme; he's only the provider, right? Well, it's all the unique value propositions
what
which are
exactly
coming
is your
from
point?
Krishna.
We're talking about specifically, is the worship of deity in the temple equal to worshiping Krishna in Krishna Loka?
No,
Or is it different?
it's different.
Who said that?
Rupa
Rupa.
Manjari, Mataji.
Yes. And do you consider that it's the same or different, Prabhu?
Different.
Huh?
Different.
Yes, it has to be. Not only is different, can you understand that each cowherd boy has a different, in Krishna Loka, has a different relationship with Krishna than any of the other cowherd boys. Totally individual and unique Jiva cowherd boy has relationships to Krishna cowherd boy individually. There's no way to group think it. See, when you're worshiping in a temple or worshiping by chanting or worshiping in groups, then you can start thinking that whatever we're doing, Krishna is there, he's standing up there like Jesus staring down from his cross or something of that sort. And that's going to be pleasing to Krishna. We have to understand that's the training ground.
Okay.
The training ground is chanting in the temple. What Kanista Adhikari is not the same as Uttama Adhikari. Kanista Madhyam. Now we're talking about approaching the Madhyam platform. Is there a distinction between how the Madhyam Adhikari, Kanista Adhikari, who wants to become a Madhyam Adhikari, how he is practiced for decades, maybe, worshiping the deity in the temple, if he does the same fanning of Krishna, who we can't see because he's in the other side of the curtain of Maya, he's in Krishna Loka, can he attract Krishna and please Krishna, fanning him the exact same way he fans the deity in the temple? What do you think?
So, maybe I think maybe the way I think in this is very much distorted, because whenever
is?
I'm going to the whenever I'm going in the temple, I'm always thinking of Krishna as the supreme and he is the all provider. Whenever
Yes.
when you say that Vishnu, I mean, we are like praying him towards as Vishnu, but Vishnu, the demigod. But I am always totally into Krishna's divine
Fine.
thing.
But in which form of Krishna do you worship in the temple?
Radha and Krishna.
The deity, right?
Radha. Yeah,
The
yeah,
deity,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Do you worship the deity or do you worship Krishna dancing in the gopis and Sevakunj?
Deities.
And that means in the mood, you get the Prabhupada taught us that is in the mood of Vishnu.
Okay.
We say we're chanting Hare Krishna, that we're worshiping the Krishna deity. We're not qualified to worship Radha and Krishna. Why? Because we're not advanced enough. The only way to worship Krishna, Radha and Krishna, is in Krishna Loka.
But bro,
Or
when
if
you
you
go
were-
to Vrindavan, when we are into Vrindavan, so he's like a sakha to them. So that, don't you think that type of a bhakti, those who are born and brought up there in Vrindavan, living there, that's much better than bhakti, than what we are doing as Vishnu, as praying as
It's
Vishnu.
the same worship, because the worship was established by the Vaishnava Sampradaya.
Because I think
So
they
the
get
coming
much
down from
closer
Lord Chaitanya. Without
as a
Lord
friend.
Chaitanya, there would be no worshiping in Vrindavan.
I think as a friend or as a lover, it's much fruitful or much interesting or much intricate or very very interesting to please Krishna.
Pleasing
This is,
Krishna is done the way Prabhupada taught us to worship the deity. Okay?
but true, for to get love of Krishna, for getting becoming a lover of Krishna, like what Radha Rani did, or what we see that his sakhas did. Don't you think that is much better? I'm not against Prabhupada's rules. Matlab Prabhupada is a Uttam Adhikari. I'm just asking you because that is what I was inclined towards. Because I was often going to Vrindavan, visiting all the temples
Of
except
course.
ISKCON. Yeah. So there, the bhakti which they do, what do you think? That's also that's also applicable to the modern type of bhaktis which are allowed.
Well, not only that, the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan
Yes.
forced the Brijvasis to all increase the quality of their deity worship.
Okay.
You know, when Prabhupada established the way he taught the seva of the deity around the world, when we built a temple in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram temple. Have you been to Krishna Balaram temple?
Yes, so several times. Yeah.
It is amazing. Now, I'm very amazed by deities. Banki Bihari, I nearly faint when I come.
Hari Hari Bol. Yes. Sir.
Yeah.
Hari
And
Hari.
the Radha Raman. It's
So
not a question of fainting, it's a question of
that-
waking up after fainting. It's,
Bhakti
that
Bihari is
pleasure-
authorized
just
temple?
too, but,
Yes, bro.
but
Yes. Sir. That's been handled by the old families of, I mean, old traditional families. It's been proved.
the caste Goswamis.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
they're
know.
like family trees
I
coming.
was there. First time I was there in 1972, I think. 71 or
The
72.
kripa there, the transcendental pleasure there is never at any place, bro. Radha Raman
Yeah.
and Vrindavan is so.
True.
I'm
No, but it's all running basically by the same style of worship, meaning worshiping as though the deity were Vishnu, even though the deity is Krishna.
just
the way
asking
it's
one
hard.
question to you.
Not
Don't you
just
think
in ISKCON temples, all temples, because they all
But,
came from the six Goswamis. We're not,
becoming
Prabhupada did not invent deity worship for ISKCON members. He took it from the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Okay, six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Now, I like to reassure you, do you would like to go to Vrindavan and engage in real real worship of Radha and Krishna? I can tell you, there's only one place I'm aware of where you can do that.
please, bro. Of course, please tell me soon. Right now, just tell me. Please don't keep us
Okay.
in suspense. Yeah.
I won't keep you in suspense. It is in a place called Sevakunj.
Okay. Yeah, bro.
And when you go there on the full moon, Krishna and the gopis are dancing the rasa dance.
Hari.
There is no worship of Vishnu in that space, just Radha and Krishna.
Seva Kunj, right, bro?
Seva Kunj. Seva means like worship. Kunj means the
Yes.
grove or something like that. So this in Seva Kunj, there is that worship. There's a one drawback.
Okay.
People sometimes sneak in there so they can see the pastimes of Radha and Krishna.
I wish I
Yeah.
have Radharani's Kripa, and next time I'm surely going there for 7
But
or 8
you
days. Or-
go there during the day and not on the full moon. Because you know what
Okay.
happens when people go there during the full moon?
Yes, bro. Please
The
go
next
ahead.
day,
Yeah.
they will find them either dead or insane.
Okay.
So if that's what you're looking for, go for it.
Okay. Done.
But at our stage, even if we are very advanced like you, if at our stage or your stage or my stage, we had better stick with what the six Goswamis taught us how to worship. Sanatana
Okay.
Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they all taught us how to worship the deity as though the deity is Vishnu. In that style.
But-
That's for us. Of course, when they worship the deity, they worship the deity as Krishna because they could see Krishna anyhow. They're Uttama Adhikaris. They could see Krishna everywhere. Why would they not see Krishna in the deity? But for us, unless we can see Krishna everywhere, we had best stick with the formula of worshiping Krishna as Vishnu in the marble deity. Or
one
brass
last point.
deity.
I won't take much time. I'm sorry for this elaborative thing.
No, it's
Uh,
good. I don't
becoming a
care how much
lover.
time you take. I just want to make sure you come out of it self-realized.
Yeah, bro. Becoming a lover or becoming a friend, like what Arjuna, as Arjuna was to Krishna, right?
Yes.
Or a lover. Don't you think that that is much profitable? I know that in 21st century, no one can become that like that. But don't you think that is much better?
Much
I
what?
don't want to offend. I mean, becoming a lover like Radha Rani or like becoming a friend like Arjuna.
Yeah. No,
If you think like that,
that's not, only if your rasa is to be a high-ranking gopi. In other words, in Krishna Loka, you have all sorts of rasas, including friendship. Okay, friendship means Arjuna. It's the same level. It's the same Uttama Adhikari level. There's no, I'm going to finish that whole formula for you when we finish this bit of the conversation. There is, it's all Krishna Loka. Everything in Krishna Loka is completely transcendental. There's 4 different levels of rasa. Fine.
Hmm.
But everybody is involved with all 4. Not that the coward boys dance in the rasa dance, but the coward boys have mothers, and the mothers have daughters, and the daughters may be gopis, and the gopis are involved in the rasa dance.
yeah, with following these things, you can become a lover with
So
following
it's
the principles.
completely open territory in Krishna Loka for those who have no desire except to give pleasure with their entire, not their mind and their heart, but with their entire existence, give pleasure to Krishna. Whoever gives Krishna entire pleasure to Krishna. Now let's get back to the nice pujari in the pujari in the temple, Kranasatagari, top of the branch, top of the line. He goes into the, tries to go into the meditation to worship Krishna in Krishna Loka. He displeases Krishna with the way he's worshiping because Krishna is not Vishnu. Does that make some sense? Prabhu? Hello? What happened? Are you there?
Yes, Prabhu.
Mohit is
Okay.
there. Yes, Mohit is here.
Okay. So Krishna is not pleased by being worshipped as though he were Vishnu. It's below his standard, shall we say. Krishna will only be, huh?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add one thing here. Can you please include these, 64 qualities? Why we prefer Krishna? I mean, why Krishna is the supreme and why not Vishnu? So there is qualities, right? 64 qualities, and like the Vishnu doesn't have all the qualities. I don't know exact number, I think.
Krishna does not have?
Vishnu does not have those
Oh,
extra four.
no, because Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna,
Right.
as is Balaram. Balaram is the original spiritual master. You and I, are being pulled up. Prabhupada said we should imagine that we're being pulled up through the Sampradaya by Lord Nityananda. That Nityananda means, in code, means Balaram, because Nityananda is Balaram. So, but in that pastime 500 years ago, he's Nityananda. So he's pulling us up through the Sampradaya back to Krishna Loka. Not to Vishnu Loka, but to Krishna Loka. Okay? Now, if you have another expansion of Krishna that extends from Krishna Loka, like one of the specific pastime deities like Lord Ramachandra, if you become a pure devotee of Lord Ramachandra, then you will go to the planet of Vasudev, which is where Ramachandra manifests from. But anyhow, that's another topic. But anyhow, let's stick with this, that in your meditation, you have to renounce your worship of the deity to be able you have to renounce your way of fanning the deity to a new way which is fanning Krishna in Krishna Loka. Completely different ballgame. So how do you know how to fan Krishna in Krishna Loka? Well, in that essay, it points out, by grace of Baladev, by the grace of, not Baladev, by the grace of Paramatma. Paramatma knows how to, Paramatma is Krishna. So he knows how you can worship Krishna. So when you pray to Paramatma, I don't know what I'm doing here. I want to fan the deity, but I don't feel that I'm getting anywhere. Because when I fan the deity in the temple, I actually feel the deity exudes pleasure. So we have a reciprocal thing. I'm fanning the deity in the temple, he's smiling, and I'm glowing, and I feel his blessing coming all over me. Now I'm trying to fan Krishna without seeing the deity, without seeing Krishna himself, and I don't feel it. It feels like a lead balloon. I'm not getting anywhere. And so in that mood, we have to understand that Krishna is not Vishnu. He's not the deity in the temple. The deity in the temple can be Krishna, yes, but Krishna is not the deity in the temple. He manifests there out of Krishna's causeless mercy, out of Prabhupada's mercy. But aside from that, he is in his pastimes in Goloka. So if I want to fan Krishna in Goloka, I have to change my style. How do I change my style? I pray to Paramatma, please Paramatma. I thought I was a hot shot pujari and I could please Krishna so much that I was rolling in ecstasy from the feeling I got from the deity fanning him in the temple. But in this case, I can't feel anything worshiping Krishna. What's wrong? So I said, and then at some point you might give up your arrogance as being such an excellent pujari of the deity in the temple, and you say, please, now I beg, I'm helpless. I need your help. I can't do without your help. Please now show me, how can I please Krishna by fanning?
Good girl.
And Paramatma is Krishna. He says, try this.
Good girl.
Okay, try that. Okay, try this and that, and then that and that, and then this. Okay. Meanwhile, Krishna, instead of ignoring you, begins to take an interest in you. He said, who is doing that? Is that same Claude that is worshiping me as own Vishnu? He's doing it differently now. Oh, I see. He's being guided by Paramatma, who's teaching him the difference between Vishnu worship or deity worship in the material world, Kanistadikari world, and Krishna Loka worship. So he's worshiping me as though I am Krishna, but not very well, but he's doing it enough so that I feel a tinge of pleasure. So when Krishna feels a tinge of pleasure, he's not just a greedy taker like the Christian, Muslim, Jewish God. He is a reciprocal taker. So when he feels you're giving him a fan motion gesture that he likes, he will reciprocate to you, just as the deity in the temple reciprocated to you when you worshiped him as Vishnu. So now you're dropping the Vishnu worship gradually, and you're fanning, trying only to go by what Paramatma shows you, and you worship the deity with your fan, and he begins to enjoy it. And when he enjoys it, he begins to reciprocate and give you pleasure. The satisfaction of being. What is the pleasure he gives you? Satisfaction. And what is the satisfaction he gives you? The satisfaction of having pleased him. Then he becomes increasingly pleased and then does things to please you. This is where ISKCON has no inkling at this point. Why? Because they are all Kanistadikaris and they're pretty damn satisfied, except it's falling apart at the seams. And they had to rip at the shreds to keep it together from falling apart at the seams. Like having lifetime guru GBCs instead of elected ones in terms of concocting gurus that are appointed by people that don't even have the right to call themselves GBCs, and they make gurus from those people. It's just embarrassing because it doesn't have any basis in anything that Prabhupada taught whatsoever. So if we are considering Prabhupada to be our teacher, our master, then we need to treat him like a master. In other words, obey him, not the GBC, not or non-elected GBC. So now back to Krishna Loka. So now here Krishna is pleasing you and you're pleasing Krishna, and it gets more reciprocal. Till finally Krishna becomes 100% satisfied. Every aspect of him that likes to be fanned is being fanned by you. And everything you want to experience by fanning Krishna is delivered to you by Krishna. And this is all facilitated by Lord Paramatma. So bit by bit, you come to the point of pleasing Krishna perfectly. And Krishna is perfectly pleased. When Krishna is perfectly pleased, he looks at you through the curtain of Maya, says, why are you in the curtain of Maya? I want you with me now. I don't want to be fanned through a curtain of Maya. I want you to fan me personally. I want you to fan me so that I see you, you see me, and I see you, and we exchange reciprocal emotions, which we cavalierly toss off when we speak, called rasa, or reciprocal, relishable, reciprocal relationship. When you get down to reciprocal relationship with Krishna, it's not deity worship in a temple. It can be if you're worshiping Vishnu, but we're talking about having got beyond that. So Paramatma brings you to that stage, then he backs away. Krishna lifts up the curtain of Maya. Prabhupada went like this when he explained it to me. The curtain of Maya rolls up. He went like that. You come under the protection of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya, if you know it or don't know it, happens to be the Maya or illusion in the spiritual world, which is devoid of illusion, but it is a special illusion so that you think your rasa with Krishna is it. You don't see him as an abstract person or an abstract formula, or now I've gone back to Krishna Loka, I scored the ultimate point. No, that rasa with Krishna is protected by Yoga Maya so that you are the person fanning Krishna. You're not the person watching Krishna dance with gopis. You're not the person who is playing ball or chasing cows in the fields of Vrindavan. That's a different Yoga Maya protective pastimes. And each individual coward boy has individually protected by Yoga Maya to perform his pastime in the fields of Vrindavan. But you're the person fanning Krishna. So that is your rasa. And in that rasa, or you are bound together. Prabhu, how long would you say you're bound together in that mood? Is he there?
Mohit Prabhu is here, but I think maybe he's stepped away from the phone.
Yes, sir.
Oh, he's there. He's there.
Emil, where is he? Oh, there you are. I see your picture. But anyhow, did you catch what I said? Were you listening or you're doing something else?
Yes, Prabhu, I was
10,000
listening.
years.
Were you listening to everything?
Yes, Prabhu.
10,000 years.
10,000 years. Yeah. So,
I wish I
So-
could listen to you 10,000 years.
oh, yeah. But did you catch the final stages, what I was telling you, or did you
Yeah, the
use
final
bathroom
stage
or-
when you reach to rasa, right? That rasa.
Did you go to
हाँ.
use the bathroom or something like that? Or
No, bro.
you were there, but I couldn't see you. Then I saw your picture. Then I saw you again like this.
Actually, bro, I just went for 5-10 minutes to the to get my hands washed. Some food was prepared. Some poha. So you want to have
Okay.
transcendental poha online? In
Okay.
5 minutes,
So,
I'm preparing.
okay, but were you able to listen while you were doing that, or you didn't?
Yeah, I was listening. I was listening.
Okay, so you got the idea that when you are in your rasa with Krishna, it's in Yogamaya, right?
Yes.
Did you get
Yeah.
that distinction? When you're worshiping the deity in the temple, it's not Yogamaya.
Okay.
You're Kanistadakari, and you're worshiping the deity is pleased, he makes you happy, everything's fine. So why not just stay there? Because now you want to go beyond that. And besides, to worship Krishna, what do you need, besides fanning Krishna, what do you need to serve Krishna in person?
Humbleness. A humbleness.
That's fine in the Kanista level, but in the Madhyam level, what do you need? You need, okay, what do you look like when you are worshiping Krishna in Krishna Loka?
Maybe as a forfeiting father, or maybe who's everything to me. He's
What you start out looking like is nothing.
Okay.
Why? You start out as nothing. Why? Because you gave up your spiritual swarup, your spiritual form in Krishna Loka. You gave it up.
Okay.
To become you in your body right now, or the person you think is you in your body right now. You gave it up for what you are in the body. If you go into the Madhyamadikari platform, that's still you trying to get out of that. When I say you, I mean you're embodied in psychology and everything like that. You try to get out of it. So gradually you get out of it by doing perfect seva. When you do perfect seva, what do you develop? Shall I ask you? What can be developed?
Devotional loving service for the Lord, for Lord Krishna.
But what about your personal identity?
Personally, becoming a servant of the Lord Krishna, his footsteps, becoming servant of his lotus feet.
But you begin to develop a spiritual body.
Okay.
Swarup.
Okay.
That swarup is not something you're born with.
Okay.
Your swarup is something you create as you worship Krishna.
Okay.
And any variation in your worship in Krishna Loka with Krishna will modify your swarup.
Okay.
But when you start out in the Kanistadakari platform, your swarup is your material body.
Yeah.
Nice and purified and follows all the relative principles, eats only prasadam, has sex only once a month, to have children, all that good stuff. But when you are worshiping Krishna in the Madhyamadikari platform, you give up your bodily identification with your physical body, and then you come up to your swarup, or spiritual body, which is based completely on you being the person that fans Krishna in Krishna Loka. When that happens, the curtain of Maya rolls up, Prabhupada said. You come under the protection of Yoga Maya, which means you are completely consumed with your own rasa with Krishna, and Krishna is consumed with his rasa with you. And then you can see Krishna face to face. Those are Prabhupada's exact words.
Okay.
Isn't that pretty far out? I bet nobody has ever said anything like that to you ever before in your life.
So your knowledge and thinking is like so much high, and I'm trying my level best, but
I have
now
no realization. I am the lowest of the low, but I have a good memory, photographic memory, and I remember what Prabhupada told me personally.
I wish, Prabhu, I can meet you in person sometime. If you are in India, or if I come to your country, I wish that, because
Yeah.
the knowledge.
But look at us right now.
great.
We're visiting. We're visiting on the pure platform.
Yes.
We're speaking approaching the Madhyamadikari platform. Madhyamadikari approaching. The ISKCON movement should have produced so many Madhyamadikaris by now,
Yes. Yeah.
but they didn't. All they could produce is Kanistadikaris because they saw it as a business deal. They thought, oh, I'll get disciples. That's my company. What do? We chant Hare Krishna, we collect money, we worship the deity. People come to us, they're attracted because it's attractive. We give them books, what's left of the books after being edited of Prabhupada's. We give them weird kirtans that have nothing to do with Prabhupada except that it's the Maha Mantra. And there we go. That's it.
That's just a money minting business, right, bro? For giving bhakti, what is, I
Yeah.
mean,
But it's a success. It's a success as far as it goes. But at the way they're going, they will never get above the bottom third of the Kanistadikari
But,
platform.
Prabhu,
They
they
have
are
to get
being,
all the way to the top of Kanistadikari and then start moving into Madhyamadikari.
don't you think, Prabhu, Krishna is seeing all this? Then also they are being funded just because they are using a name of Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada is such a pure devotee. They are using his name. That's
No,
why
listen,
they are on that
of
level.
course, listen, every time we saw Prabhupada, talked to Prabhupada, chanted to Prabhupada, worshiped Prabhupada, we were committing huge offenses. Because even though Prabhupada is personally present, we were not personally present. We were all chanting from our level of realization, not from perfection.
I think
So
Prabhu,
let's not worry too much about what other people are doing. Let's
Yeah.
perfect what this essay here is in itself enough to completely transform the ISKCON movement. I spent a lot of time on the Madhyamadikari stage for your sake. Just so you have, did you get the distinctions that were present there?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
to go
Prabhu.
from Kanista to Madhyam? When you go to Madhyamadikari, at the end of Madhyamadikari, you have your Swarup. Not your original Swarup, you have a Swarup.
Mhm.
It's probably different in many ways than the one you had when you left Krishna.
Bro, don't you think this money minting business is like running away from your karmas, which are in the material world, and then joining the temple and then making it and just chanting and getting money? It's running away from your original karma. That's what they're doing. That's not the real bhakti.
Yeah.
Real
So
bhaktas.
what they're doing is fine as far as it goes,
Okay.
but it doesn't go more than a third of the way up to Uttama, the Kanistadikari path, because it doesn't lead anyone higher to the Madhyamadikari path.
Because of this politics and through all this, it's like too much. We have to
Yeah,
sidetrack
well-
from them. I mean,
Well,
But on-
supposing, yeah, go ahead. Supposing the initiating guru is not a Madhyamadikari. Supposing he's not an Uttamadikari, he's not a Madhyamadikari. Supposing the initiating guru was initiating he's a Kanistadikari.
Hmm.
So instead
Yeah.
of calling him a guru, we can call him a Kanista initiator. Ramachandra Prabhu?
Yes. Yes. Kanishta
Oh,
initiator. What about him?
Can you flash that fifth shloka of the Upadeshamrita up on the screen by any chance?
Okay. I'll do it now. 1 second.
Great. And then we're going to finish that page, and then that would probably
We'll finish it up for tonight. Yes.
yeah. No, we're 10:30 at night our time.
Right.
Anyone else? Mark Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Okay. Nectar of Instruction, verse 5.
Lakshmi Mataji. Mark Prabhu. All are sleeping. Prabhu.
Lakshmi is still with us. Rupa Manjari is with us.
No, she's not there. Rup Manjari is not. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Rupa's still here. Rupa's still
Jaho.
here.
Rupa Manjari Prabhu has left. It's past her bedtime. So
Oh, I see.
we're crossing that line.
And Lakshmi is still here.
Yes. She's
Yes,
still here.
Prabhu.
Jai.
All right.
Jai
Shreya.
Prabhu.
Shreya still here with us?
Shreya is not there, Prabhu. Prabhu, he's not there.
That's all right.
All right. So
I
I'm sharing the screen now. Right, here we
Yeah.
go.
Here we go.
Go.
Yes.
Okay.
Hare
In this,
Bol.
yes. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanishta Adhikari, the Madhyam Adhikari, and the Uttam Adhikari. The devotee should also know his own position and should not try. The devotee should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttam Adhikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttam Adhikari. A neophyte Vaishnava or a Vaishnava situated on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttam Adhikari as a spiritual master. There we go.
So the ISKCON gurus, for the most part, are up to have reached the platform of Kanishta Adhikari. So if they are Kanishta Adhikaris and they're advanced Kanishta Adhikaris and they're taking disciples, they can do that. But look at so Ramachandra, what happens if they take it? What is the penalty?
What's going on right now? That's the
What's
penalty.
Several times it has happened in ISKCON Mayapur, right? They are fallen souls, and then the Prabhu can't allow because it comes on the Guru, right? Like Prabhupada used to take pains like anything. No one else can take those pains, no? Material pains. The Guru has to also suffer.
Yeah, it's saying, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. There you
So
go.
instead of criticizing ISKCON, why don't we just take that one phrase to heart? They can do it, and they're doing it, but the disciples cannot advance very much under insufficient guidance. So our goal is to restore sufficient guidance via pure access to Prabhupada. He's not a crucified figure in the front of a church, symbolic of purification or symbolic of salvation. Prabhupada is the guru, the teacher, and there's plenty that we don't know from Prabhupada. I can give you a quick example. Hansaduta, after he left the guru business, he was visiting his old guru friends, and he was sitting with one of them, and he said, "Oh, I'm about to give some initiation for what should a person be to get Brahman initiation? What should he have qualified? What should he have read?" And Hansaduta quickly said, "Well, to become a Brahmin initiate, he should have read all of Prabhupada's books, every single one, studied them."
Mm-hmm.
And the guru, so-called guru, Kanishta Adhikari guru, looked at Hansaduta and said, "Oh, I don't know. I have been so busy, I haven't read all of Prabhupada's books."
Right.
So he's supposedly initiating someone who Hansaduta is offering must have a higher platform than he has.
Yeah, that's what's going on now. It doesn't take rocket science to come to the level of the ISKCON gurus. You chant Hare Krishna very sincerely, and in a few years you can come to their platform already.
Sure. So they can do that, but it should be understood that the disciple cannot make much advancement under their insufficient guidance.
Yeah, that's what's happening here in Sacramento. It's a big mess because the gurus themselves are, fighting for disciples and fighting each other.
Yeah.
So the insufficient guidance is prevalent all over ISKCON. That's why it's not growing like it's
Well, of
supposed to.
course it's prevalent. There isn't
Sometimes
anyone
it
except
happens.
Kanishta initiators.
Yes.
Now, if they
Sometimes
had
it happens like this.
if the temple president, if these same men were initiating just doing the Diksha ceremony without becoming initiating gurus, then of course Prabhupada would be evoked to be the actual spiritual guide. You know, even in Christianity, Jesus is supposedly through the Bible to be the spiritual guide.
Yes. Yes.
The Catholic Church manages to put a tourniquet on there so they can sap the blood from the initiates, from their converts or their members of their congregation.
Yes.
But essentially, without Jesus, there's no church.
Prabhu,
So
sometimes don't you
why
think
are they
there's a
trying to
fight?
create?
Yeah.
Why are they trying to create something where there's no guru except themselves?
Yeah.
Anyhow, I took the whole evening just for you, Prabhu.
Okay, so should we end it here?
Well, no, let's finish the last few lines and then someone can comment on it.
Oh, you mean the neck of instruction or the
No, the letter or whatever
Okay.
you want to call it.
Okay, let me share the letter. It's right here. Okay. All right, we're going to read the last paragraph. These following exchanges, when mutually perfected to Lord Krishna and the Jiva's mutual satisfaction, will take the Jiva completely out of the darkness of Maya and place him under the protection of Yoga Maya. At this stage, the Jiva will have co-created his eternal transcendental Swarup with intricate interaction with Sri Krishna in Krishna Loka. Now, the fully spiritualized Jiva under the sheltering protection of Yoga Maya will be in his personal reciprocal rasa with Lord Sri Krishna for all eternity. Om Tat Sat. There we go.
Okay. Would you like to explain that to the
Explain.
multitudes?
Well,
we're all connected.
sure, but we're not one.
Actually, we're not connected. We're all individuals, but we're part and parcel of the same person.
Yes.
We're all connected from the jiva.
No.
The spirit.
No,
The spirit.
Each jiva, Mahaprabhu, you as a jiva, and Ramachandra as a jiva, myself as a jiva, all separate beings.
Individuals.
Individuals.
Individual souls.
Yes.
So how
If
how
we
are we,
were
how are
not
we connected?
individual, if we're not connected, we're individuals.
The
We're
wire
not
of current.
Is missing. The wire of
Don't-
current is
We're
missing.
not connected at all. We're
We are not
eternally
connected.
individuals. Unless you're an individual, how can you have an individual relationship with Krishna?
Aren't we all connected to the same jiva?
No. There's innumerable jivas.
So what keeps us together?
Nothing. Every jiva is on his own.
You gotta
Each
fly
jiva
your
in the
own
world.
ship.
I mean, what keeps the tiger together with the deer, together with the alligator, together with the birds?
Krishna.
Mark Prabhu
Nothing
is
does.
asking about why are we here together? That's because
What?
of Krishna Katha. We want pure Krishna Katha. That's what he want to ask.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
So pure Krishna Katha doesn't make us into one person.
For
No,
a
but
one,
we're enlightened.
for one
Each one
objective.
of us is individually enlightened.
For one objective we are here. For one supreme objective we are here. That's what we can say.
Objectively?
No, we
And
can say that we are.
Go ahead.
Prabhu. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hare
Go
Krishna.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, Prabhu,
But
Prabhu.
right now we're dealing with the question as to, are we part of the same jiva? Jiva means infinitesimal part and parcel of Krishna.
Yeah, we're infinitesimal part and parcel of the same Krishna.
Yes,
So that's what keeps us together, is the Krishna.
that's what keeps us, and we're not together. It keeps us existing, because without Krishna being part of Bhansam Krishna, we would not exist.
So
Remember, if we think of ourselves as our body, bodies come, bodies go. Every time you die, you take another body. End of story.
Too much
But in
philosophy
terms
for
of your
heart, friend.
internal identification,
Mahaprabhu,
you're
you're
an
taking too
internal-
much time. I need my sleep, Mahaprabhu.
Okay, so Ramachandra, why don't you? Ramachandra,
No
why
more
don't you
questions. I'll mute you.
no more questions. No
Why
mas.
not?
No
Why not
mas.
wind it up? We got to get past the stage, Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm trying.
Yeah,
Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
trying.
We'll have a conversation tomorrow. Don't worry.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
Tomorrow or Saturday?
No, tomorrow we can speak also on WhatsApp. Anyone who wants to talk on WhatsApp, or we
Okay,
can. Yeah. Why not? Okay.
and that's
So
fine. Okay, so yeah, I had originally asked if you could wind up the conclusion of Kanista, Madhyam, Uttamadikari in one or two sentences.
well, we read Prabhupada's Nectar of Instruction, verse 5. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the personal journey of it. He's talking objectively, or Rupa Goswami is talking objectively about Kanista, Madhyam, and Uttamadikari. And he's very, very, very sparsely about the Uttamadikari. And I'm trying to say,
Beginning,
summarize.
intermediate, and advanced.
what?
Beginning, intermediate, and advanced.
Yes.
Yes, but the
All right.
distinction of beginning, medium, and advanced is not in this world. It's from this world to Krishna Loka, transferring from the material world to the spiritual world, which is not like beginning, medium, and advanced in the material world. Beginning,
Can you
medium, and
elaborate?
advanced in the material world is the Kanista Adhikari, when he first joins the movement, decides to follow the regulated principles, etc. Then the next level is medium, is the process of leaving the material consciousness, material world.
Mahamadikari.
And then advanced means having left the material world and being in Krishna Loka.
Uttamadikari.
I think you answered your own question.
Yeah,
Not
right,
really.
exactly.
Prabhu, one
You answered
last
your own question.
summarization. One last summarization from Ramachandra Prabhu. Then he can sleep,
No.
Prabhu.
Yeah,
Not
Ramachandra.
summarized it. He summarized it already for us.
Who
Prabhu,
did?
you can also, please. I'm waiting for you also.
No, I'm
Please,
waiting
Prabhu.
for you.
No,
It's
I want-
beyond my realization.
I can summarize. I don't know if anybody understands the distinctions.
We're getting
just-
there. It's a
Good.
process.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
Ramachandra, have you understood clearly the distinction between the Kanista, Madhyam, and Uttamadikari and how you get to become Uttamadikari?
I'm just trying
Yes.
to understand. I'm not this body right now.
Well,
That's right.
how many bodies will it take to realize that you're not your body?
Yeah, hopefully.
10,000.
You can take 1,000. You can take 1,000 bodies in different species, and
Yeah.
then at the end, maybe you'll understand you're not your body. Why not simply realize it right now and get the
Yeah.
whole agony over, get the painful agony over with?
Prabhuji, what is this, Prabhu? 10,000 years, Prabhu. Allah, what is this, Prabhu?
Yeah.
10,000 years. That's from Lord Chaitanya till the end of the golden age of Kali.
Yeah, one birth, because we have to participate, so we can't. We
Yeah.
have to come back. That's the philosophy,
Ah, yes, that's perfect.
right?
We came up to like Ramachandra and I came up with that conclusion that really we don't have much of a choice, because we have to consider how long does it take for a person to become from Kanista, Madhyam, Uttamadikari. It's not done in a weekend retreat somewhere. It could take 100 or 200 lifetimes.
Right.
Mummy.
Yeah.
So if you're ready for that, the best thing to do is to clear up, become the Kanista Adhikari, first of all, for real, and then give up. Gradually renounce Kanista Adhikari for a desire to become a Madhyam Adhikari.
Right.
Ramachandra Prabhu is
And
waiting.
even the Madhyam Adhikari is not qualified to be a Diksha Guru, really.
Right.
And we don't have any Madhyam Adhikari gurus in this kind as far as I can see.
Qualified.
If we did, they would be saying what we're saying.
I want to be a bird again.
Okay.
Prabhu,
Hey. We
No.
will make you a bird tomorrow.
no animals, Prabhu. Animal kingdom, no animal kingdom, please.
Okay.
What kind of bird? You want to be a crow?
I want to be a hummingbird.
Oh, not a crow, huh?
No, I have one growing in my patio these days.
Okay. As long as you don't end up being the sort of bird where you flip the bird.
Did you just flip me off?
No one flipped you up. I just clapped my hands.
Haribo. Hari.
Haribol.
So Ramachandra
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
this class that we just had tonight, if that is presented as a chunk, it would be very good. Because
yeah.
anybody who accesses it on
Okay.
YouTube or on
Facebook. Yes.
Very informative.
will be given information that they have never gotten from any other place.
Okay.
And it's not that Prabhupada didn't give the information. He didn't give it in a way that people quickly grabbed onto it because they weren't ready. But now if they don't grab on it, they're going to drown, aren't they?
Yes.
Right now, the devotees have to accept this or they will not succeed.
Okay.
Oh, they'll succeed, but they'll have to drag it out for many, many, many lifetimes.
Okay.
Ramachandra Prabhu's mind is like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
So what we want is to create this temple to be non-different than Srila Prabhupada himself.
All
Hey,
right.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
All right, Hare Krishna Prabhu. All right,
Okay.
Ramachandra Prabhu is saying,
Haribol.
Haribol, we'll
Please
continue
accept my
this.
prosperity. So are you happy, Prabhu? Did you like
I'm
the
very
explanation?
happy to have. Prabhu, I'm very blessed to have your association. Maybe some past karmas are there. So I'm sitting in, just talking to transcendental people
I don't know
like
about past karma because everything I've told you is how to not have any karma.
Okay, Prabhu.
We have to remember we're transcendental, not transformational.
Yay.
Haribo.
Very, very good.
Bold.
Ramachandra Prabhu,
In the mature world, we can
It's
transform.
okay.
sorry to make you wait. I'm very
Because you're a
sorry
human
because it's
being,
night
you
time there,
become a
no?
dog then.
I know
afterwards.
it's okay.
Transform from
Usually
human to dog.
you
Then you need to wake up for Mangla Aarti also. No? Very sorry for that.
you're nowadays we don't go long. Sometimes we used to go 1 o'clock.
Okay, but we're at bedtime now, I think.
Right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu, please
Dandavat
accept my
pranam, dandavat pranam.
respects, my obeisances, and my worship at your lotus feet.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam, Prabhu.